French language is interesting in many ways. Its culture is one of the oldest and most fascinating in the world, stretching far beyond its borders. The Napoleonic Code, the metric system, a good chunk of words in the English language, all of them were originally French. From medieval knights to bloody revolutions to the iconic anthem, Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité, it seems that the whole world knows at least a little bit of French. But probably one of its most interesting characteristics is that it co-shares status as an official language in many developed countries. This allows us to make a fascinating comparison. How do people under the same political unity but with different native languages see the world? So is the French language really left-wing? Starting with the European Union, the pattern arises. France is one of the countries with the highest tax rates in the continent. It has one of the biggest spending ratios in the world. It was the only country to date that has made abortion a constitutional right. Even its extreme right, under Le Pen, is in favor of bigger spending, abortion rights, and protectionism. If the right wing is like that, can you imagine the left? In the EU, the French are also the ones who most vocally supporting further integration, which is also a progressive idea. But you could say that might be a coincidence. It's not the language, it's the country. So let's move to neighboring Switzerland then. The country comprises mostly of French and German speaking parts. But while the German speaking parts boast some of the lowest tax rates in Europe, the French part has tax rates on par with the rest of the continent. It is also the part that supports the least the current right wing party, the SVP. Let's hop on across the Atlantic to Canada now, where the pattern repeats itself. The French speaking province of Quebec is far more liberal than the rest of the country. So much so, they have been wanting independence for decades. This problem goes hand in hand with our anecdotal and day to day experience. Look at the terrifying opening to the Olympics, for example. Also, having personally lived both in Quebec and in France and visited the French parts of Switzerland and Belgium, I can confirm that what is true in theory did seem to be the case in practice as well, based on the people I met, the conversations I had, and the overall tone I noticed in society. It really seems that French speaking people, regardless of location or political structure, do tend to be more to the left of their counterparts. So, is the French language more left wing? I would argue that no. It only so happens that a lot of left wing ideology has originated in French culture. The French Revolution was a precursor to modern day leftism, and late 20th century thinkers such as Foucault, Derrida, and Bourdieu were all French. This builds a narrative across the language and culture, which naturally influences all those who are exposed to it. So, is there hope for the French people?